I don't mean to harangue you on this question. I think maybe I'm not being quite clear. I'm actually asking for a hypothetical this way. And I understand you're saying that you don't think J.P. Morgan would go down the way things are set up now. My question is really different. Hypothetically, if J.P. Morgan went down, would that be catastrophic for the economy?
J.P. Morgan can be successfully resolved under the current law and would not need to be bailed out.
Okay.
Don't ask me. Ask Paul Tucker, Deputy Governor. Ask Ben Bernanke. Ask Mary Miller. Ask many of the other public officials that have indicated large banks can be successfully resolved under the current law.
Let's go to the other side.
Well, I've asked Paul
Johnson.
Tucker. Paul Tucker is the outgoing Deputy Governor of the Bank of England, and this is a key issue for the British because it's a cross-border banking issue. It's incredibly complex. Ask Paul Tucker this question. Specifically this question, can J.P. Morgan Chase be resolved under some combination of Dodd-Frank and what the British have in place? And what he says is, well, we don't quite have the British piece in place yet. I'll translate that into American English. The answer is no.
Simon, with all due respect, maybe I was at a different meeting. For the record, we'd like to get that quote. Paul Tucker said emphatically that large banks can be successfully resolved under the current law. Maybe I was at a different meeting.
Well, what's
Richard
so
Fisher.
interesting to me is the Bank of England is putting forward proposals right now to ring-fence the commercial banking operations of complex bank holding companies exactly as I've just proposed. That comes from Paul Tucker. That comes from Andrew Haldane. That comes from the Bank of England. So there is a difference of view here.
Well, but if we study the Bank of England, Paul, then as authorities, we should take on board their evidence. Doug, on your points about other economies of scale and scope in banking, Andy Haldane and his team say there are only such magic for banks if you ignore the subsidy that too big to fail banks receive. If you factor in that subsidy, all those nice results that you mentioned go away. So let's decide where we are in the Bank of England. Are they an authority on this, or are they wrong on the evidence?
Doug Elliott.
First of all, I talk with Andy Haldane a lot, and what his actual view is a lot more subtle than you just described. But I'd like to go back also. You were invoking the Vickers Commission and what the British are doing. What the British are doing, as I think you know, is actually very similar to what we still have under the parts of Glass-Steagall that we never got rid of, which is there are protections under current U.S. law that mean that deposit-taking banks have a number of transactions they cannot do with their their securities affiliates. That's pretty much what they're talking about doing with the Vickers Commission, not talking about going dramatically further than that.
I think we may be losing our audience by talking about the Bank of England and the Vickers Commission